Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here. Once again, time for another movie review because I have been wanted to do a new video that I have wanted to do. Today's movie review because I wanted to do something I haven't done before. Maybe I should have done until just one of the newer movies I haven't reviewed that I wanted to review for a very long time that I haven't reviewed before until now, and that is for today's movie review is $15. Little man, put that shit in my hand. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yes, this is basically one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies, next to Clerks and Clerks 2, though, because this is basically how this movie I consider to be, in my opinion, my all-time favorite, because at least though this movie was released on August 24th, 2001, though, especially this movie, though, from what I understand as well. So, without any further ado, because we all know that the movie Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back has been grossing about $33.8 million worldwide, and the budget was like $22 million for a Kevin Smith movie, especially what Dimension Films and Miramax Films has a lot to do for in this movie. This movie has the cast, because we all know, like, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Yeah, Kevin Smith directed this movie, he had a lot to do for. This movie features Ben Affleck, Eliza Dushku, Shannon Elizabeth, Will Ferrell, Jason Lee, Chris Rock, George Carlin, Judd Nelson is in this movie, and Jon Stewart, Jules Asner, Tracy Morgan, Wes Craven, Jamie Kennedy, Ali Larter, whatever, correct me if I'm going to pronounce that as well. Yeah, Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson, which are these two from the movie Clerks. Yeah, Jason Lee from Mallrats and Chasing Amy's in it as well. We'll get to the characters, like, of how they played as a different character in between, though. James Van Der Beek, Jason Biggs in that one, which Jason Biggs is known for the American Pie movies on there. And James Van Der Beek is known for Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek. Yeah. Oh yeah, Matt Damon is in that movie. Didn't know that. And also, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher from the original Star Wars trilogy are in this movie, though, from what I understand as well. So without any further ado, which is right here, right now, let's review the movie, because this is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. We opened up the movie in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, is where it takes place in New Jersey, is where Jay and Silent Bob were hanging outside of a Quick Stop and right next door to RST Video from the first Clerks movie, which we all know, isn't that one? When Randall was receiving a restraining order, of how this happened, of what Jay and Silent Bob were selling drugs outside of the Quick Stop as well. But it wasn't long until Jay and Silent Bob has learned from Brody Bruce from the Mallrats movie that Miramax is adapting this movie of the film called Blunt Man and Chronic, which is basically like a comic book duo based on their likenesses. When they went to visit Holden McNeil, from the movie Chasing Amy, who is a co-writer of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, of how they demand royalties from the film, where Holden explains that he sold how he shared his rights of the film to the co-creator named Banky Edwards, from the who's the creator of the Blunt Man and Chronic comic in that one movie as well, of how this movie has been receiving a lot of negative reception online, especially the haters, of how they hated the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. Yeah, I think that's how that pisses Jay and Silent Bob off. That's why, of how that it's getting negative reception, and then that's how it all always wanted to know as how this happened as well, from what I understand as well. And that's how Jay and Silent Bob has set out for Hollywood to prevent the movie from taunting their image, of how they wanted to receive royalties to own them. When they befriended an animal liberation group, Justice, Sissy, Missy, Chrissy, and Brent, which are the organization as a front of, Brent, who will almost free the animals from a laboratory as a diversion. When the girls robbed a diamond depository, when Jay throws Brent out of the van to get closer to Justice, to whom he is attracted, Justice is fond of the pair, but reluctantly accepts them as the new pasties as well. As how, other than receiving harmful message towards the haters, giving the negative reception to the Blunt Man and Chronic, things just go quite cheerfully of how this happened, go this on. They even get that, how, when the girls steal the diamonds, when Jay and Silent Bob has to free the animals, when they steal an orangutan named Suzanne, they had escaped just before the cops arrived, before the van exploded. He thought that the girls had died from the van explosion. The next day, federal wildlife marshal Willenholly, who's named from one of the characters from Land of the Lost, arrived when he wanted to know about the diamond heist. He claims that the judges of who made the animals escaped, of how it discovers about the orangutan. When the officers find the footage of the video of Sissy recorded of Jay claiming to be the commander, to how it's an acronym for Coalition for the Liberation of the Infinite Tree Dwellers. When Willenholly declares the crime of an act of terrorism, calls for backup, of how they labeled Jay and Silent Bob as two dangerous men on the planet. When they are taking refuge of how they are in a diner, the pair address Suzanne as their child. Before Willenholly was facing the political repercussions, they thought they were arresting a homosexual gay couple, but lets them leave. But quickly, of how they resumes the pursuit when Jay and Silent Bob has jumped into the sewer system before Willenholly is tricked into jumping off the dam, because they thought they were missing. Because I think they're making a run from the law as well. That's what they do in this movie. That wasn't long until Suzanne was been adopted by Hollywood acting agency, just before Jay and Silent Bob has arrived to Hollywood, when they find themselves in a background on E News, of how they have the online threat against Miramax Films. After they watch the news, Justice has to take the diamonds to Hollywood to fix things, with Willenholly close behind as it goes. How she has a lot to do for in this movie. When they were chased by a studio security reclaiming Susie was from the set of Scream 4, but apparently though, which ironically about the movie Scream 4 was only released on April 15, 2011. So Jay and Silent Bob ends up in the dressing room of where Jason Biggs and James Van Der Beek in that one, when they're playing Blunt Man and Chronic. Suzanne beats up the actors Jason Biggs and James Van Der Beek in that one. And that's where Jay and Silent Bob assumes the roles when they meet the director named Chaka Luther King, who's played by Chris Rock in that one. Because, Chris Rock played Rufus in Dogma as well, considered how... This isn't the first time, though, that Chris Rock appeared in Dogma, and now he is in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Which, I haven't seen Dogma yet, but I'll give it a watch some another time as well, from what I understand. When they're forced to fight Mark Hamill, who's playing the villain named Cockknocker, just before Will and Holly arrives to capture them, but Justice has to protect them, admitting about the Clit organization was like some type of diversion of how this has a lot to do for. When the other thieves arrive, when the climatic final battle assumes, just how before Jay and Silent Bob finally get their royalties from Banky Edwards, after Silent Bob informs him that he violated their original likenesses of how the right contract by not getting their permission. Just before the film was being sold to Miramax, when they could face serious legal troubles in a whole little controversial type of way in those days of how they wanted to do as well. Just before Justice turns herself and her former team into Will and Holly in exchange for a shorter sentence on how she was freeing Jay and Silent Bob, just before Jay and Silent Bob were spending the royalty money locating everyone who expressed negative opinions on the internet about the Blunt Man and Chronic movie and their characters, including Children and Clearly, just to going by travel, just to assault them for receiving negative receptions of how, because when you have the song Kick Some Ass playing as a montage, because that scene, I find it how kick-ass how this goes, because Jay and Silent Bob has to get their revenge on those people who are writing negative reception about the Blunt Man and Chronic movie. I was like, oh hey, this is something I wanted to do to French Stewart because he sucks, that's why. And also the part where Jay and Silent Bob were beating those people up for writing negative receptions about the Blunt Man and Chronic movie in that part, I was like, oh hey, this is something I wanted to do to Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer the entire time, because every time I see their garbage movies, even though I despised Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer's garbage movies because they suck, that's why. Anyways, back to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, though. We get to the scene where it cuts to the audiences leaving the theater when they after they saw Blunt Man and Chronic movie, on the whole poor reception. Just before Jay and Silent Bob with Will and Holly and Justice go across the street of how they enjoyed the film. After the party, this features the performance of Morris Day and the Time performing the song Jungle Love in that movie. You know, the guys who are from the movie Purple Rain with Prince in that one. And that is the story on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, though. I mean, the story was superb, though. I mean, that's how they wanted to, the likenesses of how they wanted to know about the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, though, is that you would expect of how they wanted to do this as well. Because Miramax was releasing it, though. That's the thing, though. Of how they do this. It's like, I never knew, though. And this also, the part, they referenced Scooby-Doo in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because the part where this character, the Shaggy lookalike character in the Scooby-Doo reference in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where he said to Fred, "The only mystery we got here as we take our cues from a dick and a neckerchief. And then he's like, keep it up, Beat Nick. I'll beat you to the fucking dog. Oh yeah, I thought that scene, I saw that scene because that's the thing though. Yeah, the story was great though. I thought it was well written though, because this is pretty good for a Kevin Smith movie. Yeah, because the actors, from the first Clerks movie, like Jeff Anderson and Brian O'Halloran, appeared in this one, because that's how you would recognize in that movie as well. Because the story was great. The characters, there's only two characters played the same, different character, played the character from the previous, and played a different character again. When Jason Lee played Brody Bruce in that one, because, he appeared in the Mallrats movie, though, because, that's how he, at the comic book store thing, of how they wanted to know about how they've got to get how they wanted to prevent Miramax on releasing the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, though. And also, yeah, and he also played Banky Edwards from the movie Chasing Amy in that one. Yeah, that's basically the two characters that Jason Lee played from the previous movies, like Mallrats and Chasing Amy. Those are the two movies he did in that one. I never knew about this as well. Pretty neat, though. Yeah, and also, the character that Shannon Elizabeth played in the movie Justice in that one, she later appeared in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I think later on in 2019 as well. Basically of how, which ironically, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot came out on October 15th, 2019 as well, from what I understand. I never knew that this isn't the first time, though, that this movie was basically how it's a lot more from every other movie ever there. From the works as well. From what I understand as well. Because the characters are well known in that one. Yeah, because there's some newer ones in that. Yeah, because I never knew, because, the character that Chris Rock played in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Chaka Luther King, because I never knew that. I thought he was going to play Rufus from Dogma, but instead he just wants to play like a different character, like a parody of Spike Lee in that one. It's just Chaka Luther King in that movie, from what I understand as well. Yeah. I never knew, and not only that, you also had Mark Hamill play and Carrie Fisher in that movie, because you can recognize these two from the original Star Wars trilogy in that one. Yeah, every film location of how the filming location of what they do on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is where, like in Quick Stop and right next door to RST Video in Leonardo, New Jersey. I think that's where they filmed Clerks there. And then when they filmed where they went to Miramax of how they wanted to not facing any legal troubles about the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, though. I think this was filmed in, like, Hollywood, California. Yeah, that's how they had a lot of work for this film. Yeah, the music is great, though. Especially of how every song fits for a Jay and Silent Bob movie, though. From what I understand, is how you would expect of how they do this movie, though. From the works is how they. But overall, if you haven't seen the movie Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, give it a watch. I help you if you can watch it on DVD, which I have here, because I consider this to be an all-time favorite comedy from 2001 because I considered Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back to be my all-time favorite movie, though, because it's a perfect movie to watch for a day, though, because if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. My score for this movie, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. That's right, a 10 out of 10 for this movie. If you want to seen it, go give it a watch. Like, if you want to watch on something, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, get it. I highly recommend it. If you want to watch it on DVD, though, because it's one of my favorite movies, though. So that's going to be it for my movie review on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for today, you guys. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's something to say for this one. Well, even though I have already done my review on the movie Clerks, this is the first time I'm reviewing Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for the first time, though, as a brand new movie review video for the first time, because, well, why not? Because I wanted to do something brand new and something I wanted to do as well, from what I understand as well. Hope subscribe for content. My anime pilot link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account on all social media, smack the like button if you enjoy this video. Feel free to leave in the comments section below in this video if you like as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RuRoniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel as a newcomer. And smack the notifications bell button. Be sure to get notified as well. And that's all I have for today, because I have another video, which I haven't done because I've been doing some movie reviews for the first time, though. That's why. This is RuRoniK95 saying thank you for watching my video, and I'm glad you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you soon for the next video. Hope you have a great day. This is RuRoniK95 signing off. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you soon for more videos.